This section is all about adding and subtracting functions. Make sure you are taking notes on your guided notes page. When you add or subtract functions, you can only combine like terms, which means they have to have the same letter and the same exponent in order to be combined. First thing I want you to do is identify like terms. So here is an x squared, or x with a 2, and here's another one. They are considered like terms. Here's a negative 3x, but because it's only an x here, I'm looking for the other one that's only an x. This is only a number, solamente un número. Y aquí es solamente un número. Y aquí. The last one has x to the third. Then I can rewrite them all grouped together. So first I have my x to the third. Then I have my positive 2x squared and my negative 3x squared. Both of those I had already identified with that double line. Then I have a negative 3x and a negative 4x. And finally I have my constants, or my numbers, 7, positive 7, positive 5, and positive 1. This is just identifying them and grouping them. So I have these guys all grouped together. Down here doing that again, I have a 5x and a 9x, and a 7x squared and a negative 5x squared. Then I have a negative 1 and a 7. So I can group them together. I'm going to start with my x squareds. That's those two. And then I have a positive 5x and a positive 9x. 5x, 9x. And then I have my constants, a negative 1 and a positive 7. Whatever the sign is follows the number that's, or goes with the number that follows it. So this negative is in front of the 1, so they go together. Here I want to actually add them. So it says find f of x plus g of x. This function is f of x. And this function is g of x. And I want to add them. So I'm going to group the ones together that go together. 2x squared plus 4x squared. 3x and a negative 5x. And then negative 5 and 7. Then I can go ahead and actually combine these. So 2x squared plus 4x squared is 6x squared. 3x minus 5x is a negative 2x. Negative 5 plus 7 is 2. This is my final answer. Since there was an x in the problem, I still have x's in my answer. On number 2, it says to use this sum, so right here, this is f plus g of x, but instead of an x, I'm going to use a 3 right there. So I want to put a 3 wherever I see an x. So 6, and instead of x squared, I have a 3 squared, so I replaced that x. minus 2 times 3, I replaced that x, and then plus 2. 3 squared is 9, so this is 6 times 9, which is 54. Negative 2 times 3, that'd be minus 6, and then plus 2. 54 minus 6 plus 2 is 50. So my answer is 50. So because the problem had a number in here, I ended up with just a number for my answer. When you are subtracting, you want to start the same. So I'm going to have my f of x and my g of x. But this time I'm subtracting them. When you do this, the minus sign right here distributes to everything in the second set of parentheses. So I can copy this down without parentheses, but a negative times a 4x squared is negative 4x squared. Negative times a negative 5x is a positive 5x. And a negative times 7 is a negative 7. Then I can combine like terms. 2x squared minus 4x squared is a negative 2x squared. 3x plus 5x is 8x. And negative 5 and negative 7 is negative 12. So this is f of x minus g of x. Notice again that there was x's in the problem, so there's x's in my answer. Here it says to do f minus g, so I still have that minus, but to use a 3 right there. So I'm going to want to put 3's in everywhere I see x's. So I'm going to put a 3 right there. Another one right there. And then I can go ahead and do the problem. So 3 squared is 9. Times negative 2 is negative 18. 8 times 3 is 24. And then minus 12 is negative 6. So that's my final answer. These are ones you need to try. For all of them, you're going to use these two functions, the yellow one for f, the blue one for g. Pause this video so that you can try these problems and then check your answers. For the first one, I combined like terms. I was adding everything. I got 2x squared minus 1x plus 2. I'm going to use that answer in number 3. Pause again and keep going if you need to. On this one, you can see where these x's were. I changed them to negative 2's because it said to use negative 2 inside my function. I still had that plus sign, so I was able to still follow from this answer. I got 12. On this one, since it's subtraction, I had to distribute my negative to all of these terms, and then I combined like terms. On the last problem, instead of x's, up here, I'm now using 3b. So I replaced this x with 3b. I replaced this x with 3b. And then I continued to solve the problem.